It's tournament time, and this time of year I bring in the gurus, Mike Gross, Gordy Jones. And, this year, guys, this is so topsy-turvy. I just had my mother-in-law fill mine out. She did it on colors and nicknames of the teams.
That should foster good relations, I would think.
Well, yeah, it should.
It should.
Let's first talk about an assessment of, I think there's less talk about who got jobbed and didn't make the tournament. The new controversy this year seems to be on the seedings.
Right.
It seems like there's some guys that maybe should be higher seeded. You brought up maybe Temple, you think?
I think, Temple's a 5 in the East, and I think that's way too low. And Mike mentioned that the team they play in the first round, Cornell, who's a 12 seed, they're probably too low. And whereas Villanova is a 2, and I think that's too high given their overall body work. They've lost 5 out of their last 7, 6 out of their last 10, and they're kind of limping into this thing. Now, granted, the committee doesn't look at the end of the season thing anymore, but I mean, I don't know how you could look at Temple and Villanova and seed them like that. I mean, Temple did beat Villanova this year, for one thing, and I think they've had an overall better year.
The funny thing about this year, I think, was the bubble was like really big but really soft. There was a lot of mediocre resumes, and I think the committee did a good thing in that instance, which is 8 out of the 34 at larges, 8 went to non-BCS so-called leagues,
right,
which I think is probably a good thing, so that the arguments about the few arguments that there were about who should be in and who shouldn't were within the BCS leagues, like Mississippi State or Florida. Illinois or Minnesota, that kind of thing. And the one team that I have a little bit of sympathy for is Mississippi State because twice once against Kentucky, once they were unbelievably unlucky. I mean, almost insanely unlucky to not win. That was just the other day, and the other time they got drilled by the refs. I thought to an incredible degree. So there wasn't a whole lot of that kind of stuff. But you guys are right. Lots of things about this. Kansas, you would think, it would be the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Kansas in their region, Michigan State, Maryland, Georgetown, Ohio State, and the 2 teams that beat Kansas this year, Tennessee and Oklahoma State, which is almost like it's weirder to believe that's an accident than that it isn't almost. Right. I think so. Lots of little bit of odd stuff going on there as far as seeding and bracketing this year, more than who's in and who's out.
And conversely, there's the Duke factor. People say that they've got the easiest road to the Final Four, and probably undeserved because it's not a very strong Duke team, or not comparably strong to some of the teams they've had in the past.
And that's another thing where a lot of people, the conventional wisdom is the sort of 4th number 1 seed will get in the same region with maybe the number 5 team overall, which most people thought was West Virginia.
Right.
And West Virginia gets in with Kentucky, and Duke gets what appears to be, of the number 1 seeds, on paper, maybe the easiest path to the Final Four.
Yeah, and why are they having to play the play-in team? Shouldn't that go to the number 1 overall seed? That was
There's
awesome.
other years where that's been like where Duke has been the number 1 overall seed, and they haven't had the play-in winner. And I don't know the logic behind that either.
They alternate everyone. And Syracuse being a number 1 seed was odd to me because they based it on, this is one of the things they said, they got it on the injury report that the center for Syracuse was going to be healthy, and now he's not. Well, you shouldn't be basing that if you're going to give him a number 1 seed or not, based on who's healthy and who's not.
Well, like Purdue with Robbie Hummel, they're a 4 seed, and I'm sure it's because of that. I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Yeah, there's no question.
But I mean,
I
guess the difference is Anawaku will be back at some point, whereas Hummel will not.
Yeah, I don't have a big problem with that because I think Purdue. It's a tough break for Purdue, but without Hummel, maybe that's what they are. I still think Syracuse. However it was arrived at, I think Syracuse deserves to be a 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing, if it comes to that, I look forward to seeing them play Kansas if it comes to that, because I think that would be a tremendous game.
Yeah, that's right. That's a monster, and that would be a national semifinal.
Yeah, I think that would be a tremendous game.
Okay, the way these seedings are right now, a little topsy-turvy with who got seeded where, does that make it for a more wide-open tournament, guys? Last question.
Well, I think it's wide open because all year we've known that there's 3 dominant teams, Kentucky, Kansas, Syracuse, and everybody else throw them in a hopper.
Yeah.
So I think that makes for a more wide open tournament to begin with.
I completely agree with that. I think that's the deal. I think more than most years, there's a big, vast group that really is. There's pretty much. I hate to use the word parity, but I think that's what we're looking at.
Now we're going to do a breakdown of each region for you.